Okay, get comfortable. Okay, I said I was gonna make another video after I stopped drinking. There was another health related thing that I said, okay, I change in dietary, lifestyle, whatever. I'd make a video about. So here we go. So, January. For work, I needed to get some paperwork from a health clinic. Basically, a health checkup, which wasn't really a health checkup, but I needed a slip. I needed to get a clearance. So I go into this clinic and they do take my blood pressure and ask me a few questions. I got the blood pressure taken. It was an automatic machine and there was a ticket that came out of it. I snatched the ticket out of it and I look at the ticket and the ticket says pre-hypertension. And immediately, like old jokes just kind of pop up into my head. I was like, okay, honestly, I don't know exactly what hypertension is, but I know it's not good. I know it's a bad thing. And it's that, what is it? I think it's Chris Rock, the joke about black people not living that long. Hypertension, high blood pressure, NYPD, something to get you. And we used to joke about that kind of stuff. Like, every once in a while, a celebrity dies in their 40s or earlier. And I am in my 40s now and pre-hypertension. So I knew it was bad, but I couldn't define it. And that got me thinking about health in a way that I hadn't thought about it before. So first, I started to read up on common health issues around people my age. Just like hypertension, it turned out to be a continuous stream of like familiar words: diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease. Things I knew about, I heard about, and I knew they were problems, but I never thought about with respect to me. I thought about them as old people problems or morbidly obese people problems, but not really me. And so here I am crossing that threshold into realizing with that little receipt, damn, that's me now. I've reached that point in my life where I'm concerned about these things. So I find myself wanting to find out more about these issues, about these health issues. Two, I wanted to know how much damage I had already done. How much damage had I done over the years to my body? Like, how much trouble was I in? And finally, I wanted to know what I could do, if anything, to prevent further damage or further issues. As an aside, I have to say that death isn't the scary part of this. Death itself, one day death is going to annoy me. It'll come at an annoying time. Like I'll be waiting for a Marvel movie or something and I'll die right before it. No, it's annoying. It'll be inconvenient, but death isn't the scary part. No, for me, it's the process of dying. I don't want to deteriorate, becoming sickly and being attached to a hospital and medications and basically spending that final chapter of your life diminished physically, mentally. That's the scary part for me. And something like a chronic illness, a hypertension, a diabetes, or something like that, the beginning of that scares the hell out of me. If you've been around long enough, you've seen that version of, say, a 60-year-old or somebody in their 60s. You have on one end of the spectrum, they're still moving around and acting and feeling like they were when they were in their 30s and their 40s. You get the defiant 60-year-old who asks you, how old am I? And they ask you because they know what they look like and they know you're going to guess, something, younger. And they say, I'm 64. Ha ha ha. Something like that. And then there's the other end of the spectrum where they're 60 something, but they might as well be in their 80s. And they can't get up a flight of stairs, or, they have to really try to do that. They get winded easily. They just can't move around. Their life is harder. And so, as much as I can, I would like to avoid the latter. And if I do, if I'm lucky enough to get to 60 years old, not a given, I really hope to avoid being the latter. Now, I've been exercising my entire adult life, so I felt like I was off to a good start, had things I needed to do. But the more I learned, and the more I learned about the metabolic problems that I was trying to avoid, I realized that cardio wasn't going to be enough. Cardio just isn't enough. I had to change my diet. I did pat myself on the back a little bit, mind you. This is in January. I was about a month into not drinking, and every list I looked at, every don't eat this is terrible for you, eat those less, or stop eating that completely. All those lists had alcohol on them. And okay, there was one thing, a big change I had already made. So, with food, what do I need to do? I am a lifelong juice addict. I started with soda when I was a kid, through being a teenager. I called myself being healthier by starting to just drink fruit juice all the time. I went a long time thinking that was healthy. And no, when I got to Bangkok, they just made it worse, because here they have all these different types of juices. I was constantly buying them and drinking them. And knowing what I know now, I'm like, yikes, my poor insulin has been skyrocketing for years, for decades now. And woof, we got to do something about that. I had to do something about it. So, two big changes immediately was obviously to stop. So I completely stopped drinking any kind of juice, stopped buying it, almost like just like alcohol, and I switched to water. I drank here in Thailand Thai tea, which is super duper sugary, super duper delicious. I still have those sometimes as a treat, but just that. Like, I treat myself every once in a while, but mostly just took out the sugar out of drinks and switched to water. With food, I became a rabbit. I became like a rabbit overnight. So I knew I needed to cut any kind of ultra processed food, carbohydrates, they had to go. And I needed to up fiber. So I started eating salads like crazy. Like I went from not really eating any kind of greens almost ever to someone who eats greens pretty much every meal. It's like the center of every meal. Just a lot of fiber, either chicken or fish. Always have like salads with nuts or some sort of beans, green beans or pinto beans or something. It's weird when I think about it now, because I used to think of salads as like, when somebody told me they had a salad for dinner, I think, so you're starving. So you're gonna die of starvation. Like it had to be something that just wouldn't fill you up. But I've definitely flipped that on its head now. The salads I make on a regular basis, they keep me full, and oddly enough, they keep me more full than, say, if I had like French fries or something in a burger, like just a bunch of carbs. I'd be hungry again soon after that. But when I eat a salad in the morning, I usually skip lunch. Or I don't skip lunch. Like, I'll still eat lunch, but when people are breaking around 12, I'm still not hungry yet. I usually eat around like 1:15. So that was a pretty big change. One big thing was I started walking after meals. The timing is important after meals. I learned about the process in which you eat something and your body turns whatever you ate into glucose or blood sugar. Now, you eat something, your blood sugar goes up or your blood sugar spikes. Now, having all that sugar in your blood is not good for you. So, your body produces insulin to basically herd all of the sugar out of your blood and into your cells, into your muscle cells. Uh, Problem is, if you are constantly eating or constantly eating like shit, high ultra processed carbs, a bunch of sugar, your glucose stays high. You're constantly eating bad things. Uh, your insulin just gets overworked, and over time, over years, it simply does not work anymore. It stops working. That's insulin resistance, and that's bad. Girl, you're gonna die. So I vaguely knew bits and pieces around that, but just getting that in my head has helped me think about, okay, that's why it's important that I walk. So when you walk after a meal, not just any old time of day, the important time is after a meal, because that process that happens every time you eat, your glucose is going to spike after you eat. If you turn your muscles on, your body has like a cheat code. See, usually the insulin, if you're sedentary, if you're sitting around after you ate, your body's not moving, your blood sugar goes up, the blood sugar's just going to be there, and it needs insulin to usher it along. And like I said, if you haven't been taking care of yourself, if your blood sugar's been high for a long time, it really doesn't matter anymore. The insulin isn't going to be as effective. But if you're walking after meals, the biggest muscle in your body, your big old juicy booty, your glutes, are contracting, they're moving, and it's kind of like a cheat code, because all of a sudden there's a place that blood sugar, that glucose will go to without the need for insulin. So right after you eat, just get up, start walking. You don't have to break into a sprint. You don't have to run. Just move your ass for about 20 minutes after you eat. That will significantly lessen the glucose spike, keep your blood sugar lower. It's not just, I mean, obviously what I care about now is the health part, but there's also the vanity aspect to it too. I mean, you look better. It burns fat like really efficiently. I say that as somebody who, like I said, I used to run all the time, and I was in pretty good shape before, but something's different now. I've definitely burned fat in places that wasn't quite, I was certain that I would just always have a little bit of chunk right there, right around the midsection, like it just wasn't going to go anywhere. Now, I don't even run. I'm just walking after meals, and how the hell did I get a V? Where did this thing come from? But sure enough, it happened since I've changed my diet, in the months after since I changed my diet. So basically, that's what I've been doing since January. A severe cut in sugars and carbs, rise in fiber in my diet, and strategic walking. That's what I've been up to, health wise. I did another thing that ties in. I had stopped drinking coffee like a few years ago because I had braces, and I was afraid I was going to stain my teeth. So I stopped drinking coffee, but the braces came out in January. And initially, I wasn't going to start drinking coffee again. I figured, I guess I can do without it. But polyphenols, something I hadn't heard of. Coffee apparently is rich in polyphenols, and that helps with the inner lining of your blood vessels. The same thing we've been talking about with like trying to keep the spikes low and not damaging your blood vessels. Well, apparently coffee or polyphenols in the coffee help with that. They help keep your arteries from stiffening, and it's in blueberries too. So I started drinking coffee again. I said, okay, fine. I guess I can. I didn't even start drinking coffee again for the wake me up in the morning effect. I just said, I guess there's enough evidence that it's better or healthier to, drink 2 cups of coffee a day than not drink coffee at all. So I'm back on that. But yeah, that's me. That's what I'm doing. Bye.